So Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II has died, and she had a good innings. She was in her 90s. Sadly, she never got to give herself one of those telegrams for reaching 100 years old. And now it's Charles's turn, but Charles won't be known as King Charles. He decides to call himself King George because the last two Charles we had, well, it didn't end well for them. One had his head chopped off, started the Civil War, and the other one was a philanderer who converted to Catholicism on his deathbed. So what did the Queen do for all those years she was on the throne? Well, she did what monarchs have to do these days. Remember, she wasn't a all-powerful one-person ruler with the power to do anything she wanted. Yeah, she had power, but she was a constitutional figurehead, and that's it. Our democratically elected MPs and lords, they decide upon the laws, and they send it to her to get royal assent and signed off. And that's her job, basically. That, public appearances, and cutting ribbons. And she had restraint as well. I respect the fact that she didn't have any bias. She didn't have a public political opinion. And as far as we know, she didn't sway policies either. She didn't lobby MPs to make laws that suited her. Her motto was never complain and never explain, and she never did, and fair play to her. And it must have been really hard, especially at this day and age, to keep your opinion to yourself. I mean, I've known people all throughout my life who've had shitty things said about them, and I've wondered how the hell have they been able to just keep quiet and not say anything. You must be a really strong-willed person with really thick skin to be able to maintain that. Unlike me, because I just can't keep my gob shut. So the Queen basically, for all those years, kept her mouth shut and did as she was told, and she did a good job of it. But what next? Personally, I think we should now head for a republic. I mean, I was a staunch monarchist under Phil and Liz, because they were old school, especially Phil. But the current lot, they're an embarrassment. They're all lefties. They're pushing left-wing woke policies and agendas. And they're also hypocrites, telling people how to live their lives and how to travel for the goodness of the planet. And yet here they are with a huge diesel guzzling Land Rovers, Range Rovers, flying about in private jets, even from one end of the country to another. It's just hypocrisy, isn't it? However, having saying that, there is Princess Anne, isn't there? Now, Princess Anne is known to be a straight talker. She doesn't give a shit and she's no nonsense, a bit like her father, Prince Philip. And also, she doesn't hold any public, as far as we know, political views. And so because of her personality alone, I think she'd make an excellent monarch. In fact, she'd make a great king. I think she's more of a man than Prince Charles, Edward and Andrew put together. But alas, I still think it's best now to have a republic, get a head of state we can vote in and vote out when they piss us off. A person, a family, a couple who live in one property and one property alone, while it would be a fantastic idea to just keep the Queen's palaces, the royal family's current palaces, as tourist attractions in order to make more money for the country. Now, there is a lot to be said about having a royal family. Yes, they bring in money through tourism, the pomp and pageantry, which no other country on earth is as good as us at producing, and sending a prince or princess abroad as a diplomat to help bring in more businesses. You know, it does have its worth. But what happens when these people become corrupt? Look at Prince Andrew and Pizzagate. He is now forever labelled a nonce, simply because he paid off his accuser, and usually that's a sign of guilt. Prince Charles will forever be stained with the blood of Princess Diana, and he's a bit of a weakling fop who likes to talk to trees, is immersed in climate change and left-wing politics, and is not really much of a man, is he? And then you've got William and Kate, another pair, well, William especially, voicing biased opinions about climate change and green agendas, etc. So, you know, it's a no from me. And so with the death of Her Majesty the Queen, my oath of allegiance ends, despite the fact it says to her heirs and successors, because I refuse to recognise any of them. That is my choice, and that is my right. Oaths can be broken. And that's that. What an end of an era, the only monarch many of us have ever known. And I truly wonder what the future brings now. watch this space. And that's that. That's my video. Let me know what you think in the comments. And until the next time, look after yourselves. Have a great day. And Roger Trout.